Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we'll be continuing with part 2 of our playthrough of the game Shiloh 1862. This is from Worthington Games. And we played the first 2 turns in the first video, and also did kind of a rules review, pseudo first look. I didn't really look at the components because you can see the components right here. They are quite nice. The counters are great. The map is fabulous. It's mounted. No issues component-wise. So we're just going to kind of pick up and continue here with our gameplay. And so the Union goes second, and the Confederates get to go first. We are in turn 3. Each turn is 1 hour, so this would be 0700 on April 6th. The battle ran April 6th and April 7th, 1862. If you're unfamiliar with it, if that is the case, I would strongly suggest watching part 1, as that will give you some background, as well as going over the rules, and also obviously showing you the first 2 game turns. So here in turn 3, we're a couple of turns away from Grant arriving. So the Union is still kind of leaderless. They also have some units that are not aware of the enemy's purpose, or presence rather. The enemy's purpose is to take Pittsburgh Landing on the Tennessee River, which is in that direction that way. So you're only seeing a sliver of the battlefield, but this is where this is the Confederate forces here. These red, they're obviously on a gray background from up here along this line. These are the Confederate forces. This is kind of the southernmost edge of the Union forces. This is Sherman's division right here. That is, of course, William Tecumseh Sherman, who went on to become a pretty famous general for the Union and the U.S. Army beyond the Civil War. But yeah, so his division's right here. They're the first ones to come in contact with the enemy. The enemy has attacked them. We had a unit up here that routed. He's barely shown on the map, but we'll move up as we move to the Union's turn to show more of them as they become alerted and active in the battle. Right now, things are in flux. They're still under that kind of shock and surprise here, and the Confederates need to make as much hay as they can before the Union gets itself untracked and starts being proactive rather than reactive. Okay, so first thing in this game, in terms of the sequence of play, is the command phase, where you basically just have to determine which of your units are actually still in command. That's followed by the organization phase, which in this game has no effect at all on the Confederate forces. And on the Union side, the only thing they have to do during that phase is check to see if the proximity of the Confederates has alerted any more of their sleeping units. You can see they have tents here. They were in their tents. The battle started at 0500. That's when the Confederates first moved into the battlefield. So a lot of the Union forces are unaware of what's going on, that some of these, that Sherman's division has already been engaged with the enemy, and the other divisions of the Union Army, most of them are still unaware. Peabody here from Prentice's division, he's the first of the units that's not attached to Sherman, who actually has been brought into play here. So for command purposes, the units have to be within 4 hexes of their commander. So the Confederates here are under Hardee. That's the red units. They are all within 4 units of Hardee, who's right here with Wood. Then down here we have the Reserve Corps under Breckinridge, and Beauregard is also along with them. He was kind of the XO at the beginning of the battle and later took command when Johnston was killed. But they're all within range of each other as well. This is Bragg's brigade, or corps rather. I was like, don't say division, but no, it's not a brigade or division, it's a corps. So this is Bragg's corps right here. Bragg himself is right here with Gibson. They're actually in this hex right here. And then he's also got a couple of brigade commanders with him, Ruggles and Withers, who are also out here on the battlefield. So everyone in this corps is in command. Over here, this is Polk's corps. Polk himself is right here with Russell. We have some cavalry out ahead and down the road here. Overall commander, Albert Sidney Johnston, he's right here. All of these guys are strung together and are in command. So that takes care of that. We go to the organization phase, which, as I mentioned, we skip. The third phase is the offensive artillery phase. Now, we do have, I think do we actually have somebody who could fire? In theory, yes. I think this this artillery right here, and they're all in their limbered state right now. But this artillery right here, we have open ground in this hex and in this hex, but we can't fire at Sherman here, who's with an infantry unit, because Gladden is adjacent. If you have a friendly unit adjacent to the enemy you're targeting, that blocks your line of sight, and you cannot fire through them. So we will be skipping the artillery phase again. Really, artillery, unless they get right up against the enemy, is probably not going to be much use in this particular battle because of the terrain. As you can see by looking at the map, we do have some elevation, but we also have a whole lot of trees. It's heavily wooded, and that any wooded hex blocks line of sight, so that makes it extremely difficult for artillery, which is the only unit in the game that can fire longer than from the next hex, adjacent. Infantry and cavalry, they have to be right up against the enemy to engage. Artillery theoretically can fire from 5 hexes out, but they don't have line of sight because there isn't a lot of open ground. Now, if you could get up elevation wise on maybe like say here, right? This is a wooded hex that's elevated. If there were any enemy units in here, which is all clear, you'd be able to fire at them because you would have line of sight. But that's not the case. So we're going to skip that phase and go to the movement phase. Now, basically what we want to do here is, I want to continue to put pressure on Sherman, and we're going to try to kind of come around the flank here and start heading that way. So I'm going to adjust my camera to show this a little better. But first, I'm going to move Polk's corps to show what that one does. And then we'll kind of move south to north. So when I shift the camera north, you won't be missing anything from the south. And I'm going to actually do that off camera to save some time. Okay, so as I mentioned, I moved everybody around. One thing I wanted to note is, obviously we pushed up to be in contact with the Prentice's division a little bit more than just Peabody. So we're going to have Polk and Bragg a little bit more heavily engaged this turn. Speaking of Bragg, he and Gibson, okay, he's with Gibson right now. Gibson advanced into an empty Union camp, and they loot when they do that. So you roll a die, and I rolled a 1. Whoops, it was a 1, trust me. It was a 1, which means they lose a strength point due to the looters kind of falling away from their formation. And so they're now down to 23 strength points here. You can see that's 24. They lost 1, so they're at 23. Now I'm going to pause again, move the camera north so that we can pick things up here, and then I'm going to move it up a little bit because we want to be probably about here to show the combat that will take place. Okay, so we're not missing a whole lot. This unit here is at the bottom. There are some of Polk's corps are strung out south of there, but the main action is going to be right in this area right here. And I have not yet moved Hardy's corps, which I'm going to do right now. So what I'm going to do here, and this will be interesting, is we have this artillery here, which is a 6. And so you can see right there, that's a 6. This one is also a 6. But they are limbered. So if we were to move them, this is how that would work, right? Because we have a unit here. Now what I can do is I can move Cleburne up here, which costs 3. I'm sorry, 2, because it's clear, which is 1, but it's also uphill. He's moving uphill onto a higher level, so that costs an additional 1. So that costs 2, and he's in an enemy zone of control, so he has to stop. Now Hardy can move here, which would also be upslope. That would cost him 3, but then he'd get locked into the zone of control of Buckland here. That's not what I want. So what we're going to do with Wood here, with Hardy tagging along, is we're going to move here for 2, and then here for 4, which now locks him into place because he's in the zone of control of several things here. We got the cavalry here. Why is that cavalry flipped? He should be. Oh, he's dismounted because they're in the tents. And then Buckland is here. So now I can take my artillery. Now look, we go 2. Oh, this won't work. This won't work. What I was going to do is I was going to go 2, 4, but actually it's upslope, so it becomes a 5, not 4. It becomes 3 instead of 2 to move here. And then for 2 more, you can flip them to the limbered side. So what we'll do instead is move them 2, 4, and stop here. And then I'm going to take this guy, and we're just going to move him here for 2, and then unlimber him like so. Now he can't fire in the combat phase, but he'll be able to fire in the next turn. Now Sherman is sitting here, and he's with an infantry, right? So they're a little vulnerable too, because they've got 2 units here that are attacking them. 23 and 20, and the defender is only a 17. And it's a green morale, which is the lowest of the 3 morale levels. Green is a morale of 5, black is a morale of 7, and gold, which I don't know that we have any golds. In fact, I'm pretty sure we don't. But gold would be a morale of 9. So that's kind of an elite type of unit. All right, so now that we've finished our movement, we can move on to combat. So we'll start up here with Cleburne and Wood attacking McDowell. And we're just going to take our single die, and we're going to roll it. And we get a 3. Now, 3 is not a great roll, okay? But if we look at our combat effects chart here, so we have 49, which is going to be in your highest level here. Rolled a 3, which is pretty bad, and he's in woods, which gives a -2 DRM, so that's going to make it a 1. But we do have this Tide of Battle, and I'm going to use it. It lets you re-roll. So I'm gonna re-roll. I flipped it, which doesn't really show you much, but I'm going to move it off. I'm going to move it to down here, off shot. The Union still has theirs, and I'm going to re-roll because that's what it's for. You get 1 re-roll. And this time they rolled a 10, which is a great roll. It is going to get modded down to an 8. But as you can see, if we go all the way across here, that's a 3. So they lose 3 strength points, and they have to retreat. And a retreat is 2. And they also have to take a morale check as well. So they're going to lose 2. So this 17 is now going to become a 15. And that's right here. So this is their new strength, is 15. They have to retreat 2. So they're going to go 1, 2, and retreat here. Now, they also have to take a morale check. Now, they are a black, so that's a 7. So we have to roll lower than a 7 to pass. And we've rolled another 10. So that means they rout. And when you rout, you have to retreat again. So they go 1, 2, 3. And they're way out there now. So that's a great result for them. And then we can advance somebody. So we'll advance Cleburne up here. Now, Wood already took part, so he's not going to be in on this attack. Or we can't attack there because he's already made an attack, as has Cleburne. So that is done. This cavalry unit is safe for the moment. Now we also have here, this one can't fire because in the, as far as I remember at least, in the combat phase, Routed units and artillery, yes. Routed units and artillery cannot fire during offensive fire. They can fire on defensive fire. So that they no firing here. And defensive fire, we're going to start to see that a little more now because units are awake, right? They're alerted now. So, in fact, I could have had them fire at either of these when they moved, but I forgot to do that. So that is a mistake. I caught it. I made the mistake in part one and caught that too. At least one mistake. I'm actually shooting this before I've put the first video up on the channel, so I may have corrections in that. Again, take a look at part one to see if there are any corrections from that, because I may make the same mistakes here. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Because I'm doing these back to back, but I don't want to have a 3-hour video on my channel because nobody will watch it. This way I break it up a little bit and you guys get the benefit of that. All right, let's do shaver now. So this would be 20 against 20. So that probably won't work either, especially with the -2 DRM. So we'll hold off on that fire as well. Now here we can do Gladden with 20 and Gibson with 23 attacking this 17 Hildebrand that is with Sherman. And Sherman's here and Bragg is here, so you have the two leaders. And if you roll a 10, you have the possibility of a leader casualty. So let's roll to see what we get here. So we have 44 attacking 17. So that's it's what, 27 advantage. And there is a -2 for the wooded terrain. And look at that, we rolled a 0. Okay, so the 10 becomes an 8. So that would be two strength points lost and a retreat. But we do have to check for leader casualty as well. All right, so since we had 2 leaders present, I guess I have to roll for both sides. So we'll do Bragg first. It's a 4, so he's safe. If it's a 7 or higher, the leader is killed. Now this would be a big swing in history if Sherman gets killed here. And we rolled a 3. So Sherman does not get killed. So now they took 2 losses here. So that 17 is now going to be a 15. So I will put the 15 marker on here. Okay, like that. And Sherman, I'll put Sherman on the bottom. They have to retreat. Now he can elect to retreat with, I think he ends up having to retreat with them. Let me check that. A leader that's stacked with a unit that's forced to retreat. Oh, okay. He can move to another unit within 3 hexes. So he's just going to sit here with this artillery. Well, we could go to Buckland, maybe. Maybe, you know what? It might be most beneficial to actually retreat him out of here, because he'd be closer to this unit that I need to rally. So we're going to retreat 3 from here. So 1, 2, 3. We'll put him right here. And that, I think, because Sherman's here, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's within range. He's in range. 1, 2, 3. Yep, in range. That's his whole division, aside from our out of command guy over here, who I will move towards Sherman once we get activated here. Okay. And so now these guys will move Gladden up, I think. Yes, we'll move Gladden up. Now he has to check because he's going to loot the camp, so we have to check for any losses. And we rolled a 2. He actually takes a two-step loss. You use the straggler recovery table, which is right above the camera. It's right here. So 1 to 5 is 0. 6 to 8 is 1. Oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't lose 2. What am I talking about? He loses none. On a 9 or 10, you would lose 2. On a 6 to 8, you lose 1. And a 0, you lose none. Okay. So, in fact, that means Gibson actually didn't lose 1 because I screwed that up. Even though I rolled that off camera, I did screw it up. So I'm going to pull that piece off there. And we have down here, we're going to have a positive die roll modifier because we have 3 units here that are going to attack Peabody. So Peabody actually played a role in the battle where he was the first to discover the enemy historically and got blamed for starting the battle. And he went off, took his men, and was fighting, and actually ended up being killed. So this is Peabody, right? And we've got 15, 7, that's 22, and then 26 more is 48. So their advantage there is 21. They do get a -2 for the woods, but they get a +1 for the flank attack. Here on the combat table, you can see +1 if target is fired upon from 3 or more adjacent hexes. We do have 3 hexes adjacent that are attacking. We actually have some combined arms going here because we do have cavalry and infantry as well. So we will roll our die. Here we are in the, what I say was 48, it's 21. So that's a decent one. And with a -1, the 5 becomes a 4. And a 4 in the 21 column is 1. So they take 1. He takes 1 loss. And so he's now at 26. And he was right here. And now he has to take a morale check. And he's a black morale, so his morale's a 7. And it's a 5, so he passes, and he does not have to retreat. Okay, now, because he's been attacked, that's going to alert the rest of the Union of this division, Prentice's division. They're going to get attacked anyway. That's cavalry. So we'll do this one next, I guess. We've got cavalry here. Cavalry on cavalry. Polk will attack the 6th Division. And it's only a +2. And they are in the woods. Rolled a 4. That's a 2. That's no effect. Okay, now they're still unalerted for the moment. They will become alerted when we get to the Union turn because their units have been in combat now. So this guy is about to get attacked. He's got 46 attacking 25. His morale's a green, so if he has to take a morale check, that's bad. All right, 46 to 25. Again, we get the -2 for the woods. We roll. We got a 4. That becomes a 2. 2, and we were at what? +21. So 2 there is morale check. So he has to take a morale check, which could result in him routing. 5, or he rolled a 6. That's above his morale. So he does panic, and he's going to boogie out of here. So he has to retreat 3. 1, 2, 3. We will stick a routed marker on him as well. And so that opens up another hole in the line. We'll send Withers and Chalmers through here. So they will take that. They will sack this camp, loot it, if you would. And they have to roll to see if they take if they lose anything. Because of that, they rolled a 6. A 6 on the straggler table means they lose 1. So Chalmers loses 1 strength point and becomes a 20. So we'll put that under him here with Withers. And that, I think, is the... we have Forrest over here, but I don't know that he's going to try. He can't really... I mean, he could, but it's not really in his best interest to try to attack Stewart there because he's severely not stronger, basically. So that, I think, it completes all of the attacks that were going to be made in this turn. So for the Confederacy, so we will move on to the rally phase. They do not have anybody that needs to be rallied. no artillery fired, so we don't have any markers to remove. So we just simply move over to the Union, and so they will start with their command check. So really quickly, now you can't see all of the Union forces. Most of them are still asleep and unalerted to the enemy's presence. Some of them are probably up and eating breakfast, you would think, since it's 7 a.m. now. But they're unaware that there's fighting going on. Although you would think that eventually they're going to hear it, and that is a factor in here, and I'll talk about that here in a second when we get to the organization phase. Let's just check command real quick. The only one we really have to worry about is Sherman. Sherman's right here with Hildebrand, and as we already established, everyone but Stuart over here is in command. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. Now we can go to the organization phrase, or phase, not phrase. So here, right, you see this die roll up here, right? Each Confederate unit ending its move within 5 hexes. So we'll do that, but first, so if no other Union units have been alerted prior to this turn in a roll of 1 or 2, during the Union player's following administration phase of the next game turn, all units in an alerted unit's division are alerted and may move and fire during combat. During the administrative phase on the turn after that, the Union player may automatically alert 2 additional divisions for movement and fire during combat. During the administrative phase on the turn after that, you can activate everybody. So these guys were activated or attacked, Sherman that is, on turn 2. This is turn 3, so this is the turn following the first alert, which allows us to alert 2 more divisions. So we will make Prentice alert, which he would be anyway at the start of the next turn because of the being attacked, right? And the other one will be right here. This is McClernand's division, or the 1st Division. And they would be the most likely to, I don't need to remove these. I need to put them underneath. So let me fix this here. So he has one underneath him. They are underneath that one. These are underneath, or this is underneath this one. And they don't have one. He gets one. All right, are these in the right spot? 2713, yes. 2913, yes. Okay. And so that one and this one. All right, so now they have something to work with, because we can start to try and put some things in. This guy's unlimbered right now. And where's the other? They only have one. Maybe they only have one artillery right now. Okay, so this will be interesting. All right, so we're going to move to, that was basically the administration phase, as it's called in the playbook, or the organization phase, as it's called in the series rulebook. We are in turn 3, as I mentioned, and we're going to activate, or now we go to the offensive artillery phase. Again, we don't have anybody who is unlimbered, so therefore they will not be firing. We're going to take care of that, though, for the next turn. Here in the movement phase, because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the 1st Division, and we're going to move them here, which costs 2 to go up the hill. Okay, and then one more here is 3, and we're going to unlimber, which costs 2. So now they're sitting here unlimbered, nice strong 10 for the artillery there. And they don't have line of sight here, but they're in a spot now where they can perhaps fire should anybody come within range. So as long as they can stand up to anything anything they may do. And then we'll take McClernand, who is with them, and I think we're going to move him. We'll keep him with this artillery, so I'm just going to put him underneath. And the camp stays there. Then we've got cavalry right here. They will mount, so that's 2. And then once they're mounted, they have 7 left because you take it from the or did I read that backwards? This was the thing that confused me when I read the rules because of the way it was worded. So I just want to make sure I'm clear because they start with 6 when they're unmounted. So in this state, they have 6 movement points. You pay 2, which would leave them with 4. So I think they have 4, if I'm not mistaken. Now, we don't want to move too close to Cleburne because that would be bad, but we can move here, which would cost us 2 because we're moving from woods onto a woods with road. Then we can move down the road, which would only cost us 3, but that locks us up with that doesn't lock us up. What am I talking about? We can go here, right? Yeah, because we weren't in Azak until we moved here. We're going to flip him as well. And we're going to flip him as well. That would cost them 2 each, which would leave them with 4. Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull him out of... He's in an Ezok of both of these guys. So you can spend... It would cost us 3 to move here, which would only leave us 1. So that we would move up here. Okay, and then maybe I won't move him there. Well, let's leave him here. We'll leave kind of a cavalry skirmish line. Maybe I shouldn't have moved him down there at all. I just left him up here. Let's put him here. I'd like to keep my kind of divisional integrity intact here. Now we're going to Amscray this guy out of here too. So he's going to go 2. So that leaves him with 2. And then he'll go 1, 2. And we're going to go down here. So I'm going to try and move Sherman's men this way. And we'll hope McClernand can hold kind of the right wing of the Union forces until we can bring the other guys over here online, get them out of their camps and ready to fight. So with Marsh, he's already up. So we need to move him somewhere so that he could go 2, 4, 5. Stop there. Or he could go here. So let's do that. Let's put him there. So that's 6. Then we'll take here and go 1, 2, 4, 6. Okay. We'll try and string a line out maybe close to Owl Creek, right here, which is not fordable, and there's a bridge down here. But as you can see, there are no hexes up here, so this is out of play. But we're going to use Owl Creek as kind of the anchor for the right side of our line as we try to kind of put it together here from the Union side. All right, now let's talk about what we want to do with... this is a bad situation down here because we have Buckland, who ideally I would want to pull him back. But let's move Wraith first. So he can move across other units here. He could go 1, 2, 3, and then maybe... actually, no, that would be 1, 2, 5, or it would be 1, 2, 3, and he'd have to stop. So let's do that. We'll put him here. I don't love that, but that puts a little bit better situation here. Buckland is going to have to deal but eventually when he does probably have to retreat, he can retreat this way towards the river, towards Pittsburgh Landing up there. That's probably what we have to do. So then we'll leave that there. So yeah, we're trying to cobble together a line here. Now, man, things are not great right now for our Union forces here. So let's get Prentice and his 6th Division of Artillery out of camp. Go 1, 2, 4, or 1, 2, 3. We'll put him there. Okay, now he's routed, so we'll get to attempt to fix that during the rally turn. Now here we got somebody who's engaged, essentially. So we have to move him out. So to move here would cost him 2, plus 1 for disengaging would be 3, 4. He is cavalry. He was probably dismounted, though. So I probably didn't, and he was also, he's limbered because we just moved. And he is, now we'll pay 2 to get mounted, and then we'll pay 3 to go here. So that's 5, and I'm trying to remember if he could move further. I think I'm just going to leave him there anyway, because again, we're just trying to kind of build a little bit of a line here. The camps will help slow them down a little bit, because when they enter the camp, they're going to loot it. Okay, so that's it. And then, yeah, once the camps are, I hope this is right. Once the camp has been occupied by the Confederacy, I pull the counter off. So that's all we're going to do here in the movement phase. Now we could attack, and again, I keep forgetting about defensive fire. So let's just say, for example, we got a 5 here, 5 differential, because he moved into there. He still gets a defensive bonus from the from from the terrain. They got a 6, so that would become a 4. And in the 1 to 5 column, a 4 is nothing. 5 to 8 column. So that would have been defensive fire here from Cleburne. I don't know that anybody else, they didn't move adjacent to anyone else, I'm pretty sure. So now he's not going to attack, obviously. And that's it, I think, because all of the rest of the Union forces are unactivated. So now we go to the rally phase, and we do have oh wait, I wanted to move this guy. Okay, so if he stays on the road, he would have to go here. Okay, and that would cost him 2, 1 for the road move and 1 for being in an enemy zone of control. Then he could go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That still doesn't get him within command range of Sherman, but it does get him closer because Sherman's here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's out of command by 2 hexes now instead of 8 or 4 hexes, I guess, prior to this. So now routing, okay, so here's Miller. He's under the command of Prentice. They're not adjacent, so, I mean, they're not in the same hex, so he doesn't get any bonus there. His morale is green, which means he needs to roll higher than a 5. Or lower than a 5, rather, and he rolled a 6, so he remains routed. Then up here we try again. This time is Sherman. Again, no leader present. We rolled a 4, and he's a black, so he is no longer routed, so that's good. So we gain McDowell's services back, and then we can start. Again, I'm going to try and have McClernand here, Sherman here, Prentice here, and then we've got Hurlbut up here, and maybe we can start moving things around and trying to get in a better situation. All right, so that is the end of turn 3, and now we would go on to turn 4. However, I think I'm going to stop here. And if you'd like, please let me know. I would be willing to do another another turn. Yeah, so if you would like to see, another the next part of this, let me know. Obviously, if you're playing and not talking, the game will move much quicker. But as I try to explain everything I'm doing, and I didn't pause for movement, which I usually do because I wanted you guys to kind of see what was going on. Yeah, so that's going to do it for this one. Comments, questions, etc. You know what to do. Post it in the comment section. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you are a subscriber, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Hopefully you would consider doing one of those things or subscribing if you're not a subscriber. Either way, if you do it, don't do it, it's all good. Hopefully you'll come back and check out something down the road, which would be great. And maybe you could like, share, or subscribe then, or not, whatever. But that's it for now. I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.